I'm Tonita, and this is Here We Are. For many years, there have been attempts to start and maintain a women's professional basketball league in this country. Now, all the attempts certainly had good beginnings and some successes, but for one reason or another, weren't able to keep afloat. Now, after the Olympics in Atlanta in 1996, the NBA started the WNBA, which is proving that it has staying power. Recently, there was the launch of a new women's professional basketball league in Chicago, the American Basketball League. Now, the A.B.L. League in Chicago is called the Condors. And joining me in this segment is the general manager of the new players on Chicago's sports stage, the Condors, Allison Hodge. Thank you for coming to the program,
Thank you,
Allison.
Tonita.
Thank you so much.
But you know what? I have to back up a little bit.
Okay, back me up.
The WNBA came after the A.B.L. The American Basketball League is the first professional women's basketball league.
Okay.
There are 9 markets, and Chicago is the 9th expansion team of the A.B.L.
Oh, okay.
So after the Olympics, A.B.L., Gary Cavalli, who is the co-founder, along with the woman by the name of Ann Cripps, and Steve Ham, started the American Basketball League out of Palo Alto, California.
Okay.
So the WNBA came after us, and most people don't know that. We've been around for 3 years.
Okay.
We have the most Olympics. We have the most
Olympics,
most women who won the Olympic gold medal, and some of the top players out of college in the country. So just had to do that.
Because that was one of my
marketing
questions.
going on.
It was one of my questions was how did it come about?
Yeah.
And what factors do you feel contributed to the short-lived success of other women basketball leagues that were trying to
for Chicago alone, we had the Twisters, we had the Hustle. I think the timing now with the Article 9 and what's happening with women in sports and the Olympics, which helped, that showed on national and international level there is talent that exists for women that extended beyond other sports. I think basketball for a long time has been traditionally a men's sport. I had an opportunity to speak with Naismith. The guy's grandfather created basketball, and most people don't know who this man is, but in the 1800s there were women trying to facilitate a professional women's league way back then. So we know from a historical standpoint how important that those leagues that didn't survive here in the city were part of the struggle that's gone on in all aspects of what we're trying to do as women. So I wouldn't say they didn't succeed. I think they sort of opened the door for us. It laid down the foundation so that we know what failed for them works for us. And I've spoken to some of the women. Matter of fact, my assistant coach, Stephanie Rivera, was the assistant coach for the Twisters, and a couple of my players actually played for a couple of those
That
leagues.
was going to be another one of my questions. People from the other leagues, were they
E.C. Hill played under Stephanie, and Dana, if I'm not mistaken, Wilkerson also played in one of those leagues.
Explain to me the Title IX.
It was a law that had passed that had included women. They started to focus on women athletics in sports, specifically in high school and grade school, that there would be so many amount of sports geared towards girls.
Now, you are the general manager of this team. Is this a dream come true for you?
Well, it wasn't even a dream. It sort of happened. I mean, a lot of things that I've done in the past have been marketing, management, entertainment, so it all sort of encompassed everything I've ever done over my life, over my lifespan. My husband, of course, Craig Hodges, who helped facilitate bringing the league here, we had done a Hoops for Fitness camp for women. And from that, we had actually established a base of women that appreciated sport that extended beyond the athlete. We had women from 9 to 65 years old who had never touched a basketball in their lives. And so we started teaching the fundamentals of the game. And from that, they started to appreciate it. Like with anything, if you don't know, you won't enjoy it. We had a woman come to us and said, I want you to know you helped me with my marriage. My husband watches basketball all the time, and now I know a little bit about the triangle. She watches the Bulls and go, I know what Michael's going to do. I know what Scotty's going to do. And so I said, wow, we're helping marriages now? I mean, it was really unbelievable, and that's what prompted us to bring the league, that women were ready and willing to accept the sport. And so we had already generated that fan base and made it much easier for us.
And so your past experiences with your technical training, your formal
sports and marketing
really helped you prepare you for this position.
It did.
As you mentioned, you are the wife of Craig Hodges, former Chicago Bulls player and three-point champion.
That's right.
As well.
In the world.
In the world.
Three-point shooter in the planet.
And best of luck to them on their road trip now.
Right.
How has you all working together, how has that been beneficial
It's been great because he's over at the court and I'm in the office. But no,
so he does the grunt work,
right,
the sweaty stuff, and you do all the paperwork.
I think it's important that if you surround yourself with basketball people and you concentrate as a manager on the management aspect, in the front office, and I think that's where a lot of things cross the line when management takes too much of a step into basketball. I think there needs to be a balance. Craig Hodges knows basketball. Jim Clemens, who's our head coach, can't get any better than that. He's a four-time Chicago Bull champion coach. And you've got Stephanie Rivera, and you've got a ton of great athletes who also have an input. So let the basketball stand and exist, and then let me handle management, and I think the balance works well.
Works really well. Now, let's talk, back up a little bit and talk a bit about the team itself. As you said, you have Mr. Clemens,
that's
who played with the Bulls as well during the championship season reigns. Let's talk about some of the players and some of their backgrounds.
Right. What we did, of course, when we did the draft, I mean, we have an official draft. There's a combine that happens every year down in Palo Alto where we had an A.B.L. roster pool. We had about 160 girls come down. And so what Craig and I did, we actually did the draft out of my kitchen. We were working out of my home before we got to the office, so we had all the names everywhere in our kitchen and living room. And we watched specifically players who had a base in Chicago. So we had a lot of natives come back because there was a family and a friend. So we had the original fan base is already existing here. So E.C. Hill, who's from Whitney Young. We have Yolanda Griffith, who literally is called Scottie Pippen in a dress. She's one of the best players in the country. She's from Carver. We've got Kathy Boswell, who grew up out in Naperville. She's an Olympic gold medalist. We've got Ashley Bergeron, who's from Barrington. And we have Barb Frankie. She went to Columbus, but she was from Wisconsin. And so that's what we tried to do, was get those girls to come back to their cities and play in front of their family.
And I'm sure that's really good. That just adds even more momentum behind the, because there is a spirit of hopefulness, you know, with this team here, and something that has been experienced in a while. And I do wish you the best of luck.
Thank you.
With that. But how, and that's from the inside looking out, how has the Condors been received by Chicago? You had a wonderful, and I was there. Your launching event over at Michael Jordan's was wonderful, and I said then if it was any indication to the success of the program, then it would be wonderful. But out from that, the launch from that has been pretty well received.
Unbelievable. The overwhelming response from women, specifically yourself in media, corporate, has, I mean, I sometimes pinch myself, because when you're working every day, you're not working with the intent of someone grabbing it and putting you everywhere in the paper and making a big deal. We're doing it because it means a lot to us, and we're very passionate about it. And the response that we've had from all the youth organizations, like I told you earlier, Chicago Public School System, we're trying to work with them, Stacey Carney, who's been phenomenal, and it just makes everything you do worthwhile. It makes you appreciate that your efforts are not going unnoticed.
What about politicians?
Well, you know, this is the perfect season, so they're gonna support you anyway. But there's been some calls just on a private level like Jesse Jackson Jr. and his staff who support us. We've talked to Carol Mosley Braun, trying to get some of those politicians out to the first game. I mean, it's part of what's happening with politics. We're trying to infiltrate the community, support the youth, and make sure that there's an opportunity for young girls to become an athlete and play in this country and not go overseas and make the money they need to raise families.
How do you feel about the power, if you will, or the responsibility that comes along with the fact that you are responsible for giving hope to so many girls? I mean, it's easy for guys to sit up and say, well, I'm going to go to school and play basketball, and if it does nothing else but get me through college, then, you know, that's my scholarship, I've done well, and then try to go to the NBA. Whereas women for so long have been stopped in this country or limited by going to other countries. But how does that make you feel, having that
I didn't really think about that. How does that make me feel, Tonita?
Okay.
I got to think about that. No, actually, it's the players. I think more emphasis should be put on the players. They get up every morning, they work out, they get on that board, and they have to score. They are there for the fans, for the kids, signing autographs in the community. And so we put a lot of more of that pressure on the players, because we have to change the image of the professional athlete, that we're not driving through the hood in our tinted limousine or in our Mercedes, and that you're accessible to your fan base. And so in that instance, I really take a back seat. I won't accept the fact that I'm really responsible. I think it's a collective thing.
But you're a female general manager.
That's okay, but you know what? My door is open. My players have come in and they have offered some wonderful advice about marketing ideas, and it's really a family, the Condor office. And so as a team, we're doing that. We're actually doing that.
Okay. We'll be right back after this with more from Allison and talk about the Chicago Condors right after this. Thanks.
If you need somebody to pick you up when you fall, you know Jesus can. Oh yeah, oh yeah, yeah. Him, oh I tried him. If you need somebody.
Welcome back. That is a poster of Chicago's newest women's professional basketball league, the Condors. I'm here talking with Allison Hodges, who is the general manager of the Chicago Condors. How do you feel that the A.B.L differs from other women basketball leagues that made an attempt to start here in Chicago?
Actually, the A.B.L, which was founded, like I mentioned, by Gary Cavalli, the integrity they had and the compassion they had behind the league was that, first of all, they played during the regular basketball season. They played 44 games. They have some of the top players, but more than that, the players also own stock options. The American Basketball League is the only professional franchise that allows players to own part of the league. And I think that's what set it across, because we need a voice from players. And women, we know we like to speak up anyway. So when you build anything around women, make sure there is an opportunity for them to have some type of input. And that's what's making it so successful.
We kind of talked about this before, but I think it's important that our viewers know, especially our young viewers, know that the Chicago Condors are making themselves accessible and available to them. You do a lot of things in the community.
Very grassroots. I think if you are not in the community, you should not be in athletics. The children, specifically for women's basketball, the demographics are families and children. And if you're not available in the community for children, then you cannot succeed. Right now, matter of fact, some of our practice players and some of the staff are at Lowe's Cineplex on 87th and Stony. I called a few minutes ago. There's 190 kids out there excited, you know, to see a movie with the players and have popcorn and candy. And those are some of the things that we've tried to do.
What about the support that you've received from other professional players in the NBA?
Honestly, we've had a lot of support. I mean, as you know, with the NBA lockout, a lot of players are pretty much available. So, Scottie Pippen has agreed to throw up our tip-off ball November 6th. Randy Brown actually purchased a couch for us for one of our promotional projects that we're doing during halftime. Of course, Jim Clemens is keeping in touch with a lot of the coaches, so Tex Winter's going to come out and help teach them the triangle offense. So we're getting a lot of support.
You know, it's the whole spirit thing behind it. It just feels really good, and I feel that it'll be really successful. And I guess this is a question I probably should have asked toward the beginning, and I may regret it after I ask it, but you feel that there is room for another professional women's basketball league?
In this city?
In this city, in this country? Of course
there is. The fact that there are two, the fact that women have a choice. And what's happening with the NBA is that there is no choice. So when there's a lockout, these guys are sitting and waiting for owners to say something. There's a choice. The WNBA plays on the off season. So even if they come to this city, we actually would have the same fan base, because you can see them in the summer, you can see us in November. So I think we have room here. And I think with us being here first and laying the ground for them, it would help. You know, we've knocked out all the glitches for them.
Well, it seems like now we have, with the success of the Chicago Bulls, with the success of the Chicago Cubs, and all the other teams that we have here, the hockey, the Blackhawks, Fire, and all that this is just another venue to get people to come to the great city of Chicago to watch it. What is one of the greatest challenges you have in this position?
Probably being in a city where the Chicago Bulls are so prominent with basketball, and really making a legitimate basketball fraternity here, that to demonstrate that we have players that can actually play basketball, and it's not just a show, and that they're really playing serious basketball. We actually worked out with some NBA players last week, and it made the couple of the news coverages over the evening, and it showed that we had the talent, and that's the biggest challenge, to really spread the word that the demographics, although they're women and children, that we want diehard men to come out and watch these women play.
That's whew, that's what I'm just happy for you.
Thank you.
I'm just happy for you. Another question that is interesting. If you can think of one thing, and we're trying to wrap up, that's happened that's really just touched you to make you say, you know, dang, this is really all worth it. What would that be?
When Hillary Rodham Clinton's office called me and said they wanted to come to the first game, but she couldn't make it because she would be in Utah, but wanted to try to come this season.
National support.
National support.
You go, girl. You go, girl. Not Hillary.
Someone is really watching us and what we're trying to do in this city.
So you got to be on your P's and Q's.
There you go.
Allison, I want to thank you so much for coming and spending time out of your busy, hectic schedule.
Did I have something for
Oh,
you
yes,
yes. Your
thank
T-shirts
you.
that you shall wear at the first home game, November 6th.
I'm coming. I am coming to that. And as I said, in whatever capacity that you feel that I can do anything, I'd be more than happy to.
I appreciate it. Thanks,
Much
Tonita.
success, continued luck. Tell Craig I said hello.
I will.
And God bless him.